But when I did theater in high school and I was brave enough to join the class at all, because I was terrified to even join drama with 15 kids, but standing on a stage there, feeling like, oh man, something, like teleports me. I'm brave on stage, but in life, I'm very fearful. And then stand up, open mic nights right after I graduated high school, when I would take the mic in my hand, that was the only place that I felt really present. And I felt like I had something that I had to put my whole heart into that meant something to just me, but also if I succeed in it, make the people laugh, maybe it'll perpetuate me forward and have purpose in life. So it was kind of like it was all building up to that first open mic night in Boston that I finally realized, man, I found some importance in myself, for me.
I mean, that would be terrifying for just about every single human being in the world. I mean, it'd be terrifying for me because I don't mind being on a stage or talking or anything. It's like, that doesn't bother me. But to have it be comedy, like to find someone that is willing to stand on stage and someone that's willing to be vulnerable enough to, I mean, it's an immediate reaction. Either people laugh or they don't. They're equal. They are both a reaction. Yeah. And so I'm like, I want to excavate this a little bit. Like what is it that's happening? Have you, I don't know if you've gone into this or figured it out, but what is it when you get the mic and get on stage? Is it, something's flowing through you? I mean, sometimes with creatives, they're like the song or the book or whatever comes through me. It's not me. It's something coming through me. Is it something like that? Or is it like do you enter like a different sort of like mental dimension where because I think that with my racing, when I raced, I was like, I mean, shoot, I think you enter a different frequency with your mind that, no matter what is going on, it gets eliminated. And I always use the stupid example of, I was like hopped up on Dayquil one morning before I drove Martinsville, and it was just a practice day, but I took the Dayquil before I ate, and I was like, whoa, I feel drunk. And I had to go around Martinsville, which is this half-mile flat track where it's just accelerating, braking, accelerating, braking. Oh, wow. And I was like, holy shit, how am I going to do this? And I was like, super fast. And I was like, oh, and I never felt it, which made me realize that we're not in the same space out there that we are in regular life. So
do you feel like, because I know for me and you as an athlete, and I'm the son of an athlete, my dad went to BC, boxing, basketball, football, super, super confident. You're a pressure player, you're a pressure performer, probably in more areas than just the racing, where you probably don't even realize what you're capable of sometimes until it goes wrong.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've kind of even realized that with like my best races were usually the ones where there was the most pressure. Like Indy 500, Daytona 500, like the ones that were bigger were the ones that like, it was 5 years ago today, actually. I just posted a story that I qualified in the top 9. It's like this fast 9 and it's hard to do. And I hadn't driven an IndyCar in 7 years, and I went back and like qualified really well. And so, yeah, you don't know what you're capable of until you get in that position. So back to you, like, what is happening? What do you feel up there, or what don't you feel?
Well, kind of, hitching it on to the pressure player was I wasn't very good in school. I wouldn't really do homework. I was terrible at math and certain things. When I tried to do homework in advance, I would get like C- or whatever. But when I had 1 hour and before the class was frantically trying to learn what I needed to, or I had to kind of make it up on the fly, I was great. And I would be like, wait, how am I getting A's and B's when I'm kind of terrified, putting myself in a hole? Jump that into stand-up. I don't write a set list down. At first I used to try to write the set list, and what I found was that like, oh man, when I try to stick to this, I feel false. But when I wing it, I say things that I don't even know how I did that. And I'll find language and vernacular out of nowhere. Like, words will come in. And so I start to realize, oh, wow, I am an athlete. I am the son of my father. And I'm better when I'm not so conditioned and formulaic. That's the thing. I was better when I could kind of improvise. And what that helps in stand-up is then you're kind of reading the room. If you go into a room, I'm going to say these 5 funny things, but you're not thinking of like, how's the night been? Is the crowd a good crowd? What's happening in the world? Culture? Is the manager screaming at somebody at the bar and that's making people nervous in the back? Is there a waitress and she's, dealing with somebody who could potentially be like threatening, or a heckler? You have to be able to go into a situation and go, here's my routine, but I'm fluid. And that's scarier because you're not leaning on anything. You're just trusting you're going to be okay. The only thing I could ever bring it to stand up that I think people understand in sports is it's kind of like being a pitcher in baseball. It doesn't matter how great your last pitch was. You're up there alone. Everybody's waiting for you to do something great. And the perfect mechanics and the perfect pitch don't matter that next pitch. The crowd doesn't care. Nobody cares, even though that was a great pitch. And it's like that in stand-up. I got to laugh. Doesn't matter. I got to go to the next one. It's got to be as good, 90 miles an hour, straight down the middle. And being in that headspace on stage, I felt like the person I always wanted to be. Cut to leaving the stage, and that kid's still waiting for me with all the, early in my career, people would be like, man, you weren't very friendly. You weren't really ingratiating yourself in the community outside of a few comics that I really knew and trusted. I told people years later, I was scared. I looked so confident up there at the helm with the guy and the,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I was like, still trying to figure out. I had no spot. I was beta. I'm very alpha now. I became alpha. I was very beta.
We're going to talk about that then.
I didn't have the confidence to look you in the eye and let you get to know me in a very real way. I did not know how to do that for a longer time than what the stand-up indicated at first. But being up there was like a superpower, and that was the person that I wanted to be. I wanted to be me on stage in life, and try to figure out how to like reverse engineer it to become more present off stage.
Sounds like you did.
I did. Yeah. It took a minute, but once I started getting into then, you know what's so weird, Danica? Then I started to realize, man, this fucked up life and this, how it's always so challenging. The pendulum does swing both ways, but it seems like it swings into the hardship faster and more,
way harder.
Right?
For longer.
That thrust. But I started to like, I got to a place some years back, 10 years back, where I was like, I'm okay with failure. I like it. I'm cool with it. I wear it. I fucked up. I find data in that. I get way more. I'll fail 5 times and I'll still, man, those 5 things sucked. I'm winning. I'm picking things up from there. I'm not repeating the failure. I'm not going to continue to do something to be derivative and abuse myself in failure. But I got to this place where I was like, man, I'm really okay with this life sometimes kicking the shit out of you, because that's what I think weirdly we've all signed up for in a way. I don't know what's on the other end of it or what the report card is after or the simulation replay, but I just started to be okay with like, it's okay to not feel comfortable all the time. It's okay to feel lost. It's okay to feel anticlimactic in your perceptions and dreams. It all leads to what I think is greater days and greater purpose.
Sometimes there's like an impetus for that, like there's something happened that made you go, oh, wow, that failure was actually the best damn thing ever. Was there a situation that gave you that sort of really strong stance to be able to be okay with that failure? Because it seems like that's a giant lesson.
Yeah, I think it was, moments that you're enlightened and realizing, okay, wait, how can I be so happy in a moment of victory in a career, but then abuse myself in ways, the way some people will imbibe in drugs or alcohol? Like I was surrounding myself, especially in love earlier in my life, with people that were not kind with me, and it was like just people that I felt like was like, man, this is like becoming distracting almost to like the happiness that I want to feel because of the purpose that I have. And it took in that enlightened moment of realizing, oh, I'm the son of an alcoholic, and I know the love of alcoholism. And I also realize in life we're magnets to like want to have the same way we want to have people identify the things that are great about us. If we have something hidden in ourselves that's either needs to be forgiven or wants the opposite, or something, the toxicity, feeling polluted, you will bring people in your life to pull that out of you as well, because that is your truth. You will be victorious and you will feel worthless, and you'll find people to help accentuate both. It's not just one-sided and wins make the dark stuff go away. No, you'll be in relationships where you're like, man, this person is pulling out the couple of things, the minutia that I don't like about myself, and I'm with that person because I want them to reveal me to me.
Well, we can't see ourselves. That's the damn conundrum of being a human. Is that right. We can't, it's like a computer doesn't know it's a computer, right? Like it doesn't know the programming. It has no idea. It's like iOS 3 or whatever. I don't even know. And so you don't know what your programming is. And especially because so much of it happens until we're about 6-7 years old is when most of our subconscious programming is established, which is about 95% of how we operate. So we see ourselves through other people, which is just crazy. And like almost no one knows and gets that.
Right.
So where did you stumble upon that? Because I'm 41 and I just figured that out like, a few years back.
I had a buddy about 10 or 11 years ago, one of my best friends, and he sat down, he said, you seek love from alcoholics. You seek the love of alcoholism. And
but
it was crazy. I don't drink. Never had a drink or drug in my life. But it was an aha moment, because in it, I was like, I understood almost immediately when he, just said it straight up. He's like, and he brought up some examples, and he's like, this person came into your life. Suddenly they were athletic like you, and they want to go rock climbing and this, that, and they don't drink at all. And then 5 months later, they're, just day drinking and this and that. And he goes, what would your dad do? I say, my dad would drink. And then for 3 weeks, it would be, I'm sorry's and the best love ever until. And then it turned into that, same perpetual state of like, oh my goodness, like how do we get through this as a family? And then he would sober up in 4 months. And that's what I knew. And it was like, I hug him every time I see him. And I thank him almost like the same day that he brought it to my awareness that he loved me enough to go, that's who you're drawing in. And so I just, started, sussing out the kind of people and what their backstory was. You got to learn about people. You got to know your origin. You got to, in friendships and anything, in business, got to ask questions, get to know people, get to know their intentions, see how mindful they are. And then from that, I built a better communication process for falling in love or anything. Changed all my friendships, even some of my friendship. I recalibrated my whole life based around that understanding of like, I need healthier people around me.
If you like this clip and you want to hear the whole episode, click at the bottom of your screen.